sir. It's a pleasure to see you and your bright and happy and smiling face as always. Whenever I see you from the last 5 years, that beautiful smile in your face has never ever changed.
Same with me also. Very nice to meet you.
And I still remember, sir, that fantastic conversation I had with you in the DG chamber, where you told me about the significance of training programs, especially in the police department. There were a couple of other officers also who were very, very interested as you were speaking, to listen to you because you're a fantastic speaker as well. And I could not have the workshop the very same year in which I met you, but 2 years later, I did manage to have a workshop in Maharashtra Police Academy, and I told Ashwati Dogre, ma'am, who was the director there, that sir had really inspired me, to do this. I was supposed to send a proposal and do a workshop just 2 years back, but nevertheless, I am able to do it, and I felt some really, really connecting moments with the officers. Where I shared it with you also in WhatsApps. I'll share it with you once again, where people have come out and told that this is a completely different perspective of looking at life. One major thing which I have discovered, and especially in the same lines as you have spoken, sir, is with your permission, I want to share it with you if you allow me.
It's
Is about the joy of making the whole society your family. Sarvam Vasudeva Kutumbam, which is like a very, very vast and broad statement, which I also heard it from you. And when I shared the very same perspective with the police department, especially with the people who have these complaints that they're not able to spend more time with their family members, uh, first there was this little reluctancy, but a few people who started applying it, and when they came back and they were telling me that, Karthik, it is such a phenomenal difference. So it just goes into this asking that, do you think, sir, that should we encourage people in the police department to feel the whole world and the whole society as their family? Will that make a remarkable difference in their attitude?
certainly. You see, the basic principle in all this is that you cannot have a tower of isolation in the midst of misery. If there is around misery around you, and you think that by having all my luxuries or whatever I can imagine and sit in a tower completely isolated and I will be happy, it is completely wrong premise. Just to support my this principle, let me tell you a recent story, actual happening. There is a district called Gadchiroli. I don't know whether you had an occasion. This Gadchiroli is a district which is bordering Maharashtra and connected with Telangana, Chhattisgarh, and Orissa. Very, you can say, completely relatively backward areas. Now, in this particular district, there are so many villages which are, as you know, are affected by Naxal influence, and the Naxalites have been making the life miserable of many of these people. Now, the SP Gadchiroli, he in collaboration with civil society members, he decided that we should have an attempt made to make Gadchiroli district as completely cataract free. So these volunteers, along with the medical experts, they surveyed various people, almost maybe running into thousands of them, and identified about 300 persons who were suffering from cataract, elderly persons, ladies, gentlemen. And once they were identified, then we could also get a few persons from the philanthropists. They came forward. They said, don't have any hesitation in whatever the medical requirements completed. So they provided the financial help. And with their help, and also with the help of the Gadchiroli police and the civil society members, these persons were transported to Wardha, which is quite about a distance, about maybe 250 kilometers plus. And there, the rural hospital there, it's called Wardha Rural Hospital. So these medical doctors there, they operated or they have completed the operations of 150 persons from very remote areas in the jungles, in places like Sironcha, Aheri, and all that. And now they have returned back to their places. But the happiness of these people is writ large on the faces of the police personnel as well. So the police personnel who were instrumental in helping them, they were also very happy. So you see, the moment you see a person like some of these very remotely located persons getting happy because they got the eyesight. So that is the real happiness. I become happy not by enjoying maybe what I want to eat or what I want to enjoy and all that. No, that is not. That is a very temporary. In fact, that kind of happiness which you get is over the moment you have it. But this happiness which you provide to others who are really in need, who are really lacking the resources, who are really adversely affected by the conditions around them. Now, if you can provide some solace in their life and make their life comfortable, the type of happiness which you get through such actions is eternal. It is
Absolutely.
perpetual. The more and more you remember and recall these moments of their happiness, the more you become happy. See, that is the real happiness, and that is in the principle that you have to widen yourself into the entire society around you. That is called the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam.
Absolutely
So
amazing.
if I restrict myself only to my pleasures, my earthly pleasures, I'm going to be actually doomed because that is going to end immediately. See, in economics, there is a principle that the moment you get anything that you want, your happiness about that particular thing is over.
Correct.
And then it starts actually diminishing.
Correct.
So the happiness starts diminishing in such matters. What are called as what we known as the Vishaya, or what are known as the earthly pleasures. On the other hand, the moment you help the others and make them happy, make them comfortable, that type of happiness you will never be able to lose.
True.
So
True.
that is the secret,
No, I
and that
complete.
secret, yes,
Sure,
and
sure,
that is
sure.
the secret which the policemen are implementing through their service.
Absolutely, that is very, very vital, sir. I absolutely agree with you. And many a times, these business heads and CEOs and other startup founders, who participate in my workshop, they often tell me that, Karthik, you keep interacting with the people, and I often keep sharing whenever I meet wonderful spiritual companions like you who are in positions of authority, and lots of cops when I meet them and I interact with them. I often, write a bit of that in Facebook and I keep it and I share that details. So they often ask me, Karthik, what is it that you talk regularly? You keep meeting sirs and you keep meeting these officers. What do you people talk? And I said, okay, one day we will record such things and share it with you all, so that it can be very, very
Yeah,
useful to every one of you. I remember this conversation with you, which I had in your home the last time I was driving before I was passing. If you remember, sir,
yeah,
you mentioned that very beautiful phrase in
yes,
Sanskrit.
yes. So I mean, I can show and share with you some
I think we're
photographs
seeing
and
something.
videos also
Okay.
of these persons who have been engaging in the what activity which I
So,
mentioned to
but
you.
before that, I want to ask you one thing, sir. So, do you think
Yeah, yeah.
that all the police officers, especially public servants, do you think it will be really, really great if they are, somewhere, feeling a deep sense of connection with the society? And personally, when you have, like, see, if I have something, let's say, if I have something which I'm more identified with, and I have invested more on that, my mind and my thought and my energies are naturally into it, uh, as as a natural mode of process. Now it comes in similar ways to the family also, isn't it, sir? That now if I have my own wife and children, naturally my thoughts and my attention would be more towards them. So do you think the people, especially in the police department and also the people in the public service, their ability to deal with the society and their ability to engage with the society and their ability to contribute with the society would be much more if they are not married?
No, no, it is not at all so. See, in fact, both these things are very complementary. In fact, behind every, as they say, successful person, there is a woman who contributes tremendously. And that gives a complete satisfaction to the person also when he is discharging his duties. And as far as the policemen are concerned, see the persons who, generally a policeman is understood only as a person who, if there is a crime, he visits, he arrests the culprit, he sends the charge sheet to the court, etc. That's a very limited understanding about the policeman. In fact, those policemen and police officers who are interacting with the society at large and helping them in several other things. So these are the police officers who are really successful. And not only in India, but the same is the story, whether it is the Bobby of London, whether it is in the other world, other countries also. Wherever the policemen, because the policemen are looked upon by everyone in the society as a person who will give them dispassionate, say, advice and some solace when they are absolutely in very bad need. So they approach the police only in such times when they are helpless. They have no other assistance coming from any other wing of the authority. And that is the time when they reach the policeman. For example, I recall a very interesting example. I was in one of the metropolitan areas working, and I was sitting in the police station at late night, maybe around 12 o'clock at that time. And one person, almost like crying, came to the police station and started talking to me. I said, please have a seat and tell me what is wrong and what assistance we can give you. So he said, see, my problem is that there is no water coming to my apartment. And I have tried all my authority, all my other whatever departments, etc. But somehow that problem is not getting resolved. And so, as a last resort, I have come to you. So you are the only person who can give some guidance and who can direct the concerned authority to ensure that I am having my water connection restored. Accordingly, then we helped him and all that. So the point is, the people really come to the police for all sorts of assistance, and the police officers who help them by going in the inverted commas, I would say, out of the way. Because strictly, if you say, no, this is not my job, this is not my cup of tea, this is not my work at all. So if you start telling the people will not like it or people will not take it also.
Correct.
They expect and they really are happy when the policemen go out of the way and help them. So that is the way. And as far as their families are concerned, there is no dispute at all. The family does understand the requirements of the policeman and they are also happy. So I have not seen any police officer or any of their families complaining that they have to work in this manner by engaging in the society.
Sir, that is a very, very modest answer, sir. You have given. It is. I'm sure you are passionate Maharashtra police officer inside you is speaking right now. But I want to share with you, sir. As you know, right from 2013, I had this opportunity of doing workshops with the National Police Academy and various other states. And in all the places when I'm doing this workshop, this is one common thing which comes is that in the being an officer, sir, you're served at various levels before becoming a DGP of Maharashtra Police. And I remember there are times where I remember when you happened to tell me that, in the middle of the night also, there have been moments where, you have answered the calls, you have got up, you have attended. And when the incidents of this Mumbai attack happened, everybody, including every top officer, was on high alert. And it is a very highly challenging job. And today, right, as I was going, I happened to see on the road at around 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I went for a drive towards the beach for having a nice walk. And I happened to see that just at the bridge there was a vehicle which just ran into the post, and then the police officers or police cops are there, the constables are there, the inspector is there. They're all trying to get the vehicle out. And so early in the morning, I'm sure a call would have gone to them and they would have woken up. And this is the same everywhere in the city. So this disturbed sleep, this disturbed time frame, and every that chaotic engagement, and also it takes away the moments. I know a lot of police officers who have said that we were not able to be with our family when our wife was delivering, or during occasions where my son was having a birthday, and they miss these moments when the child is actually growing up. So I'm sure there is a very passionate officer in you, which I am deeply connected to, But there are lots of officers which it's in my opinion, sir. I'm humbly sharing it with you. You may give it a thought,
No, see,
when we
it
meet.
is the other way around. In fact, we are part and parcel of the birthdays of so many children, not only our own child, but also many children in the society.
Exactly.
Particularly those children who
Exactly.
have I remember, see, visiting the orphanage. And when I visited the orphanage, the children there, when we distributed them the sweets and whatever we could at that time, they were so happy. So, as I said, to be a person and to experience that happiness of all those children, that gives you much more happiness, much more pleasure than only restricting it to your child and inviting a few to celebrate it.
I was
Our children, yes, our children are also more happy to be in such a company, and they don't mind it at all.
I was interacting with one IPS officer, sir. You might know him. He was a son of this very famous encounter cop Rajbir Singh from Delhi, Mr. Rohit. And I was telling to Mr. Rohit that he had put a pic about something. Then I told, I hope, are you getting married? Then he said, no, no, with a laughter. Then I said, I casually tell to people that, people who are in police service and all, it will be great if you can engage yourself more deeply with the world and the society by large, because obviously you will not get to have that moments which are very deep and very intimate, and spend more time with the family, with the children. And every word that you have said, sir, that moment of happiness, as I was noting, and many a times the discussions that we had, it's always that intense contribution in the society. So is marriage extremely essential in today's world, where two people, especially the man and the woman, if you look at it today, they are deeply engaged in their work, they are highly ambitious, and they have their own priorities, and there is always a conflict in the opinions, in the beliefs, and also their personal longing of freedom is very, very high because of exposure to various segments of talks, exposure to Netflix movies, exposure to Amazon, which is giving a larger perspective as to why one needs to have a personal time. And in this, who is at a loss? Do you feel the children who are born are going to be at a loss? You're seeing any number of celebrities today, who are getting divorced, and it is only increasing by large after 14 years, after 10 years. Any number of people who are getting divorced, and this is having a larger impact on the child, especially. Somewhere,
See, let us have a comparative, just a comparative what is happening around the world. In Russia, for example, they encourage you to get married, not only to get married, to have a child, and every expenditure required connected with that is borne by the state. Similarly, in China, as you know, now they have adopted a two-child policy.
policy, yes.
In fact, they are saying now you should have three
all
child
all the
or three
government
children
all the
policy.
government all the government people should have, they're saying, yeah.
Yes, and now they are encouraging people to have their marriages and have at least two or three children. and the country as such is really connected or concerned with it. And similar is the story with so many other countries. In those countries also, they are particularly supporting the marriage system and having children. They said whatever your problems, financial, physical, this, that, etc., will be taken care, but do not hesitate to have marriage or to have children. So why this
But
kind
is
of
there a bar, sir? Is there
is
a capping,
required?
sir? Is there a capping on the financial support that is provided by the government? Like you have here different schemes where if a girl child is born, they pay about 50,000 rupees something in
I think
the.
it is sumptuous. The assistance is sumptuous enough to
Right.
take care of the needs. So that's not a difficulty at all.
Mhm.
Why this kind of a concern in many countries, and why I would particularly advocate that the young, whether man or woman, they must get married is because see, the type of satisfaction that you have, the type of understanding that you will have, you cannot have it with somebody else who is not married to you because all the time you don't discuss only your business. You also discuss so many other things which may be only private, which may be only out of the business totally at all. For such engagements also, you need the support from your family. So family, see, in fact, Chanakya, long ago, I mean, it must be almost 2000 years ago, Chanakya has said that whenever you have any time free from your within quotes business activity, you should go back to the family. Well, that is the only place where you will get recharged, where you will get rejuvenated, and you will do your activity or business with much more interest. Chanakya has said this long, long ago. I think he had understood the world much better than many of us. So the truth is that you should have family. Because see, if you don't have family now, I remember there was a one IPS officer or IP officer. Earlier it used to be IP, the Imperial Police and then the Indian Police officers who were recruited in the British era. So this person is a very famous gentleman called Mr. Ashwini Kumar from Himachal Pradesh. So he married at the age of 55. But the point is that if you don't marry it at the right time, you may marry at the later stage, but you will certainly realize the need for having a marriage
And is it
rather
also
than
something that
having
you are
it
a
at
sorry, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
yes, yeah.
I,
So
I,
instead of having it at a later stage when your physical conditions may or may not support you, it is better in the interest of your children that you have marriage at the right time at the early stage. Look after the children, take the help of your parents if you need. That will also strengthen your bond with them, and do take care of the children so that those children also will be a pleasure. It will be a great moment of happiness for you in the days to come.
you say you're working as a research professor in the Duke University, I believe, and with several other universities, and me also with this broad connection with all the various universities across the world and also other places. I'm not getting into their statistics, what they are saying about the course of the tensions which are prevailing in the family, not keeping all that in mind, but I'm just giving you my personal observation very humbly with you, sir. Very rarely do I find couples like you or certain other places where people live in harmony, where they have understood the joy of companionship. The gentleman Ashwini ji, whom you were speaking about, the age of 55, probably for a companionship, he has married. So essentially, the keyword is companionship, as I understand. And when the society, by large, especially for a cop and an officer, especially like an IPS officer or a collector, they have a great engagement with the world in a very powerful way. So I was just thinking, that if they were not married, probably their connectivity levels with the world would be much, much higher, much, much joyful. The impact would be much better. Like our prime minister, his ability to connect with the people is very high.
No,
You are
no.
very close.
See, what happens? No, no. What happens is I mean, also the Prime Minister is, of course, a different and an exceptional person who is highly committed. But leaving such person, see, for most of the persons, if they are not married, whether it is man or woman, they may enter into many aberrations. And those aberrations are very costly. And they damage you as well as your character, as well as your business activity as well. No business would like to engage a person about whom there is a, say, bad reputation
Correct.
for various engagements, etc.
Correct.
So they say, no, we don't want such persons. In fact, in the United States also, they say that if you are not married and if you are not having your spouse with you, then sorry, your chances of being at the helm of affairs are almost zero. In fact, in many important assignments, including the assignments of, say, being ambassadors and all that, it is a must that your spouse must be with you. And only then you will be considered for a posting as an ambassador. So that itself reveals what is the great importance of having a spouse by your side. People, in fact, have confidence in you when you are married, when you are having a spouse with you, and you are living comfortably or happily.
Is it the
If you are
mirror
not,
neurons which are working, especially because you're finding a lot of collective identity? Because most of the people in the society are married, and when people are married, they feel okay, this person is interested in taking more
normal.
responsibilities, is
Yes,
interested in fulfilling responsibilities. When you give him a certain
correct.
task or when you give her a certain task, they will be in a better way to handle. I-
Suddenly, suddenly. In fact, they feel more confident that you are a normal person and you can be trusted.
Is there
So it's
also
because,
a great
yeah,
conspiracy here, sir? If you happen to look at it, especially now when you look at it, you look at let's say a cop who is working and cleaning the underworld gangsters and other places like in Mumbai and other places like that. The person who has a family is always at risk of being vulnerable because their family members can be kidnapped, their children can be kidnapped. On the other hand, a person who is not married especially does not have to fear any of those problems. So at some places, do you think for certain people being single is a kind of an advantage? Do you also feel that? And do you also feel, sir, that the people there is uh, the recognition of love, especially when you are connected with love with as an individual. Now we have met any number of times, and every time we meet each other, there's this kind of spiritual fatherly spiritual companionship and the joy. We always feel we are meeting fresh, and I have always said this to you that certain people when I meet, I always feel I'm meeting myself. Like there is a brigadier, I always say that whenever I'm meeting you, I feel that I'm meeting myself. I said this to you many times, if you remember. The last time also when I came to your home, I just felt that I'm visiting my own house. I never felt separate. It was so nice, the kind of questions you were asking me. You would not be asking the questions the same way to everybody, right, sir? Like have you eaten, have you take you have to take a rest. It was so deeply connected moments. So when you connect with people without bondage and purely in love, that's exactly what the Bhagavad Gita and the Vedas very clearly specify. Such kind of awareness in the society must be cultivated where they raise a step above marriage, because marriage essentially is a set of rules according to a legality and a framework which is existing. And the raising number of diverse cases, the raising number of family issues, possibly somewhere should there be a better way of looking at things. Because today, if you have a family, I have a family, you have your children, I have my children, I am naturally looking to take care of my children. I am naturally going to be a part of the mirror neurons in the society. And then what my neighbor's child is doing, where my neighbor's child is being put. I'll give you an example, sir. A guy was working in Microsoft, and he went to have attend a party, which was thrown by his friend. And immediately after they came back, they had a very, very big fight, he and his wife. So he said, what happened? I was just asking him what happened generally. He said, I don't know. Suddenly she started fighting. I said, no, suddenly nothing happens. What has happened from when it happened? He said, yeah, we went for this party and then things got into a problem. I said, what happened in the party? Do you remember any conversation? He said, my friends, I just remember that from a moment where my she came to knew that my friend's son is in an international school, and we are there in our son is there only in a public school. She started, telling me about, let's also put our children in the international school, whereas that international school is charging a hefty amount of money, which is it's unbearable bill, and I need to go for a loan, and that person already has a property, he has his family property, and also he can afford. So but she is only looking that you both are working as a principal architect in a company, why he is able to put a son in the international school and why are you not able to put. So I was just observing that.
No, you see, what is required is that they, as many activities as possible should be done collectively, not only collectively but by the entire family. Now, this kind of a concept of having a party only for the stags, etc., is in itself obnoxious. If you think that only by calling persons who are working in the business and having a so-called party, that is not the real party at all. Nobody enjoys it. People keep on remembering their families. People keep on remembering their near and dear ones. On the other hand, now most of the companies are realizing this, and they're saying that we would like to have the entire family together when we are having this kind of a get together, whether it is for the purpose of party or whether it is in some remote area or somewhere. They would prefer to send the entire family. They say we will bear the expenditure of the entire family, and they let them all come together. So that is the way in which most of the persons come together, they interact, and that creates more happiness, and consequently their work also improves. Now, as far as what you mentioned, see, comparing the child going in X school and the child of somebody else going into Y school and therefore having a fight, that's only, I would say, symbolic. The real reasons may be something else, something different. If there was an understanding, in fact, the wife would have herself advised the husband in such cases that we are satisfied, we are having a separate unit. We shall take care that our child, whether he goes to public school or wherever it is, but he will do his best. And certainly, if the care is taken, the child in public school who is taken care by the family will be more brighter than a person's child who might be going to international school but is totally neglected by the family.
That is
See, the
100%.
difference
I
is,
agree with you, sir. I agree with you
yeah,
100%. But what I was
it
trying to
is
tell
it
you,
is the school is the only limited part
true, true,
where the
true.
child learns.
No, I
In
was.
fact, he learns much more, almost you can say two-thirds of the day from the family. And now with these online schools, etc., you have realized it that many of the children are in the house throughout. For last 2 years, the entire time they have spent only with their parents, but still they are happy because the parents have taken interest in them. The parents have taught them, and the children do not feel that they have missed uh, any such thing which they should have learned. So that shows the type of support which the family gives to everyone. It gives to the husband, it gives to the wife, it gives to the children. Everyone is happy in that. So there is no reason. And whatever you may mention about the divorces and etc., I would say these are only aberrations in the society. That is not the normal rule. It is a number of persons who might be witnessing or around you who might have divorced. They are regretting. Recently, for example, the famous actor, Mr. Bharadwaj, who played the role of Krishna in Mahabharata, he was mentioning that he had a second wife, and the second wife also had divorced him. So he was regretful about it. He said, "I'm very, very unhappy. I don't know what to do now, and I'm really feeling sorry that there is a divorce from the second wife also." So that is the real truth. You must have a family with you, and that will continue to give you support and strength in whatever you are doing.
Agreed, sir. What I was, what I was trying to tell you with that example with that Microsoft couple was that that lady who started feeling that her son also should be in an international school was because of the impact of this mirror neurons. Because you understand this, that whatever my neighbor wants, I also want today, has become like a common thing in the society. No one escapes that. And especially I am able to see this very very largely in today's young IPS officers, and across the way, other places in MNCs and all the other places. This high cut, competition. They want to prove that they are better than their neighbors. They want to get better posting. They want to be in areas. They want to provide the best to their kids and all. So, in the starting, I was telling you that if you have children and I have children, I would naturally want to, give the best to my child. And suppose we both did not have any children, and we both did not have any wife, and we were connected in love, and we also were connected to the spouse in a more, loving manner, where the institution of marriage was not in place, and two people are together with awareness. Would you think the concept of what you call as Sarvam Vasudeva Kutumbam would become a more living reality?
No, no, that is not the way. See, the world is like any task. The task is subdivided into subtasks and further subtasks. Similarly, the world is a Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that is true. But it consists basically of all these families. So all the families come together and they make the entire family of the world, which is called the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. You cannot say that I will not have family and still I would like to have everyone as my family members. Nobody may accept you. People will not just allow you to enter their family at all. They'll say you keep aloof, you keep race separate from us, and we do not want to engage with you at all. We would like to, in fact, engage with those who are having family like us. So that is the truth, and that is the reality.
I was
People
at
prefer
a
to interact with those who are having families.
I was at a recent, not recently, I will say, sir, a couple of years back, I was at a place and there was a lot of congregation over there, and all the people there were feeling more good because they felt that, alas, we could spend some time without any of our family members. There has been substantial. I'm not going by any reports again, any statistics, because obviously it has taken 100 people into consideration or 10,000 people into consideration. I'm going with what I see. Like wherever I go, hardly do I find a place like your home or certain other people's houses, which I feel perfect representations of family members. There's no doubt about that. Absolutely no doubt about that. When you speak about family, when you speak about values, I love to listen. But when a majority of the people I see, they every day get up in the morning, complain, crib, hit their children, young children, like who are first class, second class, hit them, and then tell them we don't have this, we don't have that. It becomes very very restrictive, and they grow in resentment. And children who are growing in resentment will only create more anger towards their fellow human beings, because everything that they look at will be from the prism, because there is bent up emotions inside every human being. There are suppressed anger in every human being. And suddenly when you see this happens very commonly, sir, many cases might be reported to you, that suddenly किसी ने जाते समय किसी को पीछे से मार दिया ट्रैफिक में, and then they get on and they start really violently retarding back, and in the middle of the road they start fighting. Where is this anger essentially coming from? All suppressed anger. So somewhere very true, when we have the family has evolved parents like you 100%. It's a very good gift to the parent. It's good, very gift to the world, because a child is growing in a very fantastic environment. However, that is not happening at all today. If you and if
No,
you
you
if,
see, what is important is the child gets angry or resentful, not because you are giving him X or Y thing which he is demanding. He is angry because you are not sharing your time with him. Sharing time is more critical and more crucial than giving him X or Y thing. X or Y thing is immaterial for him. He may play with a wooden toy, he may play with an electronic toy, he may play with some other toy also. The children are not at all worried about that. You look at their psychology. They are comfortable when they feel that whenever they want to ask anything, they are inquisitive. They want to ask so many things to their parents. They want to understand from their parents how the world is. They want to do many things as the parents are doing. And for that, they are looking towards the children and that they are looking towards the parents. In fact, you see, a child you will always see loves to play that game where he feels, I mean, where he plays as if he's like his mother or he's like his father or something. So that is their real ambition. They want to be grown up. They want to be responsible. But for that, they need the time to be shared with their parents. I mean, the parents have to share their time with the children. If that is done, then suddenly they will not complain at all.
And in all the leading
So,
articles, sir, in all the leading newspapers and also all the places across the news, you might have read this, you might have seen this, and I also personally seen it firsthand that during the lockdown, everybody were in the same house. The husband was there at house, the wife was there at house, the child was there at house, and there has been large reports of physical abuse. I'm sure you're aware of in the police stations, which were reported, and also more divorces have been reported, and also uh, lots of domestic abuses which are like rising high number high time. So somewhere people are not able to spend time with their people. Like I'll tell you my what I observe. I see in a home, father is in his laptop, mother is watching some YouTube channel, son is playing games or watching a pogo. When they
that is precisely the problem,
we have gone
isn't it?
to
The problem is,
we go to that
yeah,
restaurant,
the
you remember,
problem
sir, in Mumbai, and
exactly
everybody were just in their mobile phones, in this, in that. Hardly are
correct.
people talking to one another. Keep that damn phone aside and talk and interact and ask each other how they're feeling. It
Correct,
is not
correct. No,
happening at
that is
all.
the problem. That you see, all these are the devices provided to you for better connection, not for disconnection. So that is what we have to understand. All these watching YouTube or etc. That is an attraction. But you must also remember that you are a responsible parent and you have a responsibility toward the child. If you are not going to talk to them, even when you are taking them out for a walk, even when you are going out in maybe in the vehicle or in the garden or wherever it is, or in the house also, you have no time for the child. That is the precise complaint which the children are making against you. And that is also the cause for the dispute between the husband and the wife. The husband feels that whenever I'm talking, this my wife is only busy with YouTube or their mobile whatever discussion with somebody else. She feels that he is only engaging with somebody else through his laptop, etc. So you must find time for, as I said earlier, also to do common activities. And common activities, whether it is for going for your club activity, whether going for a walk, whether going for entertainment, do it together. Find occasions when both of you or both the entire family is together, and you will realize that everybody is happy and they will cherish those moments of happiness with nostalgia. So, the real answer for you is that the devices, yes, fine, they are useful to you, use them, but don't overuse them to the disadvantage of getting disengaged or disconnected from your near and dear ones.
But such kind of people are afraid to spend little time with their children and with their wife because they feel that what will be the new demands which are coming up. So this is the ground reality, sir. I'm sure you are aware of it across which is happening. People are not able to spend good time with oneself. This and today in an environment in the name of intellectual discussions, what all is happening. Today people discuss about the new political issues, political thought processes, and it is constantly disengaging. I'm sure we will have a talk about it, sir, maybe about uh, this disconnection which people are having with oneself. Maybe when I'm coming and meeting, and we can record that also for the interest of the viewers.
Certainly, certainly. It will be a great pleasure.
So
Welcome.
it's an
Mm.
absolute pleasure, sir. Always, whenever I meet you these days, we're meeting more online, but physically meeting is always a great thing. So when I'm driving back, I'll surely ping you up and sit for a nice, wonderful discussion with you at your place.
Welcome. Welcome.
Have a wonderful time, sir. It's a pleasure. As
Thank
always,
you.
meeting
Take
you and
care.
talking to
Take care.
you. Good wishes.